The first murder in human history did not ignite with the clash of iron or the bite of steel. It began in the stillness of a field, born from the subtle, suffocating heat of an altar. Two brothers, sons of the first transgression, stood before the presence of the Almighty, each presenting the fruits of their labor. In that singular
Here
moment,
is my offering.
heaven made a
This
choice.
lamb is my
One
best.
offering was received with the favor of God. The other was met with an unsettling silence. The one rejected did not walk away in repentance. He wore a mask of calm, invited his brother into the isolation of the open fields, and in the shadow of the earth, he extinguished the life he was meant to protect. We often relegate the account of Cain and Abel to the realm of nursery tales, but that is a dangerous miscalculation. This is not a fable for children. It is a mirror held up to the human soul. If you gaze into it long enough, you will find reflections of yourself, the raw, uncomfortable truths regarding jealousy, the hollowness of performance, and the terrifying reality of what we truly believe about God when the world turns its eyes away. To understand the depth of this fracture, we must return to the dawn of a broken world. After the expulsion from the Garden of Eden, the world shifted into a landscape of stark, unforgiving reality. The golden rivers and the effortless harvest were gone, replaced by a terrain that seemed to recoil from the touch of man. The scriptures do not offer a sanitized version of this transition. God's words to Adam were clear and heavy with consequence. The ground itself was cursed. The life that followed was not defined by peaceful pastures, but by a relentless war with the earth. It was a cycle of sweat, thorns, and thistles, a grueling struggle for sustenance that ended only when the body returned to the dust from which it was formed. This was the inheritance passed down to the sons of Adam. Into this atmosphere of toil and dust, two lives emerged,
Again,
divergent
we
as the
toil.
transition from
The
twilight to
dust
dawn.
claims us all.
Cain, the firstborn, was a man of the soil. He was a cultivator, a strategist who understood that existence was earned through the grit of his knuckles and the sweat of his brow. He was disciplined, unyielding, and fierce in his labor. On the surface, he embodied the qualities one might expect of a man destined for greatness. Conversely, Abel was a shepherd. He moved through the world with a contemplative grace, reading the movements of the clouds and finding a profound sanctity in the natural order. Where Cain saw obstacles to be conquered, Abel saw mystery to be honored. Cain looked upon his brother's gentleness and perceived it as a deficiency, a lack of fortitude. He could not see that what he mistook for weakness was in fact a deeper, more resilient faith. They were brothers, forged in the same home, raised by the same parents, and taught by a father who had once known the intimate presence of the Creator. Yet, beneath their shared table, their hearts were already migrating toward different horizons. The day arrived
Look,
that
my
would
sons, the
irrevocably
stars guide
alter
us.
the course
They're so
of human
bright.
history.
The path
The
diverges.
mandate
I
from
must find
Adam
my
was
own.
clear. All that they possessed was a stewardship from the Creator, and therefore the offering brought to the altar must be the absolute best. It was not a matter of what could be spared, but of
This
what
is the
was
sacred
most
trust.
precious.
The heavy
Abel
burden
allowed this
passed from
truth to settle
generation to
into his
generation.
spirit. When he approached his flock, he did not select the common or the convenient. He sought out the firstborn lamb, spotless, unblemished, and costly. It was a sacrifice that pinched his own resources, a tangible act of surrender. As it is written, by faith Abel offered a sacrifice that was commended by God. His offering was not inherently superior because of the animal itself. It was superior because of the heart behind it. It was a declaration that God was real, that God was watching, and that God was worthy of the very best that life could produce. Cain, too, brought an offering. He laid out the fruits of the ground, the labor of his own hands. He participated in the ritual. He stood in the right place, and he performed the expected actions. Yet the posture of his heart was entirely elsewhere. While Abel's heart was a vessel of trust, Cain's was a vessel of obligation. He brought what was available, perhaps even what was left over. The Lord does not judge by the outward appearance, for he sees directly into the architecture of the human chest. When the fire of divine acceptance descended upon Abel's altar, it was not merely a reaction to the gift, but a response to the devotion that fueled it. Cain stood, watching the light dance upon his brother's sacrifice, his own altar cold and ignored. It was in this moment of sharp, stinging rejection that the trajectory of his life was decided. Most narratives overlook what happened next, but it is here that the true nature of divine mercy is revealed. God did not turn away. He did not leave Cain to his own resentment. He approached the man who had been rejected and initiated a dialogue, a moment of profound, urgent, and agonizingly personal intervention. "Why are you angry?" the Almighty asked.
Why are you
Why
angry?
is your face downcast?
Why is your
If you
face
do
downcast?
what is right, will you not be accepted? But if you do not do what is right, sin is crouching at the door. It desires to have you, but you must rule over it. This was not a decree of finality. It was a map to redemption. God warned Cain that he stood at a crossroads. He pointed out the predator waiting at the threshold, the bitterness that was beginning to ferment. He gave him the opportunity to fix the posture of his heart. But Cain, blinded by his own perceived injustice, walked directly past the warning. This is the sanctuary where the enemy gains victory. It is not in the initial moment of
This
disappointment,
bitterness consumes
but in
me.
the hours and days that follow,
can't fight
when
it.
the wound is left unaddressed. Cain allowed his frustration to fester. He carried his bitterness into the field, transformed it into a weapon, and invited his brother into the silence. Abel, possessing the trusting nature of the righteous, followed. In the first act of violence ever recorded, the brother of the soil rose up against the shepherd. The earth, already cursed by the fall, tasted the first drop of human blood. When the dust settled, God returned to the
Where are you,
field.
brother?
"Where is your brother?" he asked. Cain, now fully submerged in his darkness, met the gaze of the Creator with a lie, feigning ignorance and insolence. But blood, once spilled, possesses a voice that reaches heaven. The judgment was swift. The ground would no longer yield to Cain's toil. He was condemned to be a wanderer, a man severed from the only
Cain,
identity
where is your
he
brother?
had ever known.
Am I my brother's
Cain
keeper?
cried out, fearing for his life, and here we witness a paradox
I know
that
not where my
defies
brother
human
is.
logic. God did not abandon him. He placed a mark upon him, a seal of divine protection, and declared that vengeance belonged to the Lord alone. Even in the depths of his guilt, the presence of the Creator did not depart from him. It was not an excuse for the sin, for the consequences were absolute and devastating, but it was an affirmation that God's mercy moves at a frequency beyond the reach of human justice. Abel was gone, his life cut short by the envy of a brother who could not bear to look at the light of another's faithfulness. Yet Abel's story did not end in the dirt. He still speaks. His faith, his uncalculating devotion, and his final tragic end echo through the scriptures as a challenge to every generation. The question remains, etched into the foundation of our own lives. What do you bring to the altar? Is it your first fruits given in raw, unfiltered faith? Or is it the leftovers of your life, the convenient, the performative, and the hollow? We are all at various times standing at that same crossroads Cain faced. Bitterness and envy are still crouching at the door, seeking to turn the blessings of others into a source of personal resentment. But remember, God is still speaking. He is still asking, "Why are you angry?" He is still offering the choice to master the darkness. His mercy reaches into the darkest fields and places a mark of protection upon those who have failed. You are not defined by the moments you have fallen. You are defined by the God who pursues you even in your wandering, waiting for you to return and offer not your duty, but your heart.
The light pulses on their skin, a testament to the enduring nature of mercy.